Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, I'm gonna take a look at some of the script templates that's actually provided together with Sverchok. They're not very obvious, but if you dig inside the zip of Sverchok add-on, there are actually a bunch of node scripts template that you can use, and they are quite interesting. I think I show you one or two, like the pedal and um, the grid also. They are very useful, and they're like a small text script that you can simply pass into Sverchok script node. So this is a script node Lite, and there's a script node. Script node Lite is newer, and it's the script you put in here is a little bit simpler than the other one. There's one in particular that I wanna have a look. Is this one, draw override complex. I'm just gonna show it to you without too much talk. So I'll switch the text editor. Currently I don't have anything in the text editor. All I need to do is just drag this into Blender. You can also do the text and open text block. And you see this is a Python script, and this is the script that Script Node Lite understand. You can have a look at the script and give it a study. With this guy, I'll just create one. So this actually generates this curve that you might be familiar with, kind of curve that you use to play with a curve, RGB curve in compositing, or maybe for material, and you can kind of generate a interesting curve shape like that, for example. And even though this is not obvious what this guy is doing, but you can actually use it for many useful results. For example, if you want to make like a grease pencil strokes and you want the stroke to be based on this curve, you can easily do that. Before I do that, I'll show you a quick usage of this guy. So this guy, you can think of it like a mapping. So if you have like a bunch of value here between 0 and 1, and you make 10 values between 0 and 1, you can just plug this guy in and you get a result like this. So there's at the end it's kind of like it's going really far, but I think you need a little bit of value there. So that's a little bit better. So like this is kind of like a remapping. This you need to provide value between 0 and 1, and then this will take care of the rest. It's very similar to map range. You have a bunch of value, you plug it in, and you say, okay, this is value between 0 and 1, map it to value between 0 and 10. Very similar, except that with this curve you can easily make like a ease in and ease out, just like an animation. So I think that's kind of useful. So let's try and apply this into like grease pencil strokes. Before I go to grease pencil stroke, I actually have to show you this first. So if you have like range float between 0 and 1, and then we plug that as the X value, and then this guy as the Y value, you will get this line. So this is very important. Whatever changes you make here, and if you update it by scrubbing the timeline, you will get a result right away. And you can increase the sampling and do all sort of interesting stuff. You can think of it like F curve in Blender. You can also mix like bunch of F curve and kind of repeat it and whatnot. There's one particular limitation, I think, I don't know why, but if we source the same curve, this guy seems to be making the same object. I don't know why. Maybe that's a limitation at the moment. Okay, back to our curve. If I have like grease pencil here, okay, I'll draw the grease pencil once again. So one stroke of grease pencil, and I want to make this curve to generate mesh along this grease pencil curve. I can actually easily do that using object selector, get the grease pencil data, and you can see I'll use a viewer draw, and I'm going to resample these grease pencil strokes. The points currently it's like a pretty random. Vector interpolation, MK3. This guy, for example, something we can plug into vector interpolations, and we get a new resampling of the grease pencil. So we can control the number of points, and by having that, you actually, the next thing you need to do is very simple. You just use polyline viewer and plug this guy into the radius, and you should, oh, I forgot to plug this as well. And you should get like this curve actually being mapped to the grease pencil, and that's, by doing that you have like a variation of strokes along the grease pencil. So yeah, that's actually very easy. If I make like a, you know, like a weird curve here and update it, you see this curve is being mapped to grease pencil stroke. I'll try it with a multiple stroke and see the result. See, there you go. It's a, everything is being resampled, and then this curve is being mapped as the radius of the stroke. So I think that's kind of interesting, and it really can be super useful depending on what you want to do. So yeah, this curve, maybe you can't have like too many variation here. There's a limit of how many dots you can have here, but still, this is super useful. Let me try something. Reset view. How to reset this? Reset curve. Okay. So resetting the curve, we get this kind of result. Looks like a tail. This is the beginning of the tail, which is like 0, and then the end of tail, this number up here, I think it's 1. So if you make it like something like this, it's kind of making like a stroke, like a brush, paintbrush stroke. So if you, I don't know, if you're doing like some kind of Chinese writing, Japanese, Korean, or Thai writing, you can easily get that kind of nice brush feel about it. You can use the B-spline as well, smoother result. You can smooth the stroke. You can also randomize the stroke if you like. I think I show it to you at some point. This is one way you can make it like kind of jittery. It's a nice kind of effect there. Just plug in a, very neat. Yeah, let's try one more. Draw my logo. This one actually need more sampling. So yeah, the sampling thing is also something you need to keep in mind. So depending on the length of the stroke, you might need more or less. And that's being controlled by this guy, and then this also control the curve. On top of that, you can also have this control over the radius, make it a little bit fatter. Subdivision, okay, that's also useful. There you go. That's a quick look at this script node. That's actually draw this the curve thing. I think this is very useful. It should be like a node in Sverchok, like a real node. Currently, it's just a script node. You can have a look here. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this live noding. Hopefully, this is useful. Let me know if you have any comments. And thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.